So that is kind of an odd gospel choice for the occasion of the day. Christ, the King of the Universe, Sunday. For that gospel reading, it's more like Christ, the social worker of the universe, Sunday. And that's not a thing. But the reason we have this gospel this day is, simply stated, that Christ is a different kind of king. He's a different kind of king. He is not some heavenly monarch dispensing legislation for us all to obey on punishment of whatever. A lot of people think of God in that way, and they're wrong. They are wrong. Religion will never seem like a good thing as long as in your head God is this all-powerful, furious being to perpetually appease or else. It will never work if that's your starting point. And I realize that a lot of God's behavior in the Old Testament kind of backs that up. There are reasons for that. We're not going to go into that today. I can't cover that in 8 minutes. We're going to save that for another time. Instead, I'd like to offer you the opportunity to see things a different way. See it like this. Christ is indeed King of the universe. The day is correct. God is in control, so to speak. I know you've heard that before. And God is love. I know you've heard that before. Ergo, love is the King of the universe. With that in mind, this gospel reading makes a whole lot more sense, because it was all about living out that expression of love to those most in need, caring for the hungry, the sick, the needy in general. If love is actually what is ruling all of creation, well, that means that true glory doesn't come from strength. It comes from charity, peace, and humility. That is true greatness. But it's tricky because it's greatness in disguise. Because by any other perspective, that's just weakness and servitude. But of course we know better. We know that it's not weakness or servitude because we see the world through the supernatural perspective of grace. If God is love, and if God is the King of the universe, then we all should be very different people once that idea is ingrained in our hearts by faith. That, of course, is the question. What exactly is the difference? If we do understand and believe that God is love, how exactly does that make us different than the people we once were before? And, well, wouldn't you know it, some people asked G.K. Chesterton practically that exact same question. They wrote to him and asked, "Mr. Chesterton, what is the difference between a Christian and a heathen?" And he wrote back and said, "A heathen worships strength. A Christian strengthens worship." That's the difference. We do not worship strength. We strengthen worship. God is love. And strength does not rule the world, even though it appears to from time to time. That is what this day, Christ the King of the Universe Sunday, is all about. That is what this gospel is all about. It is about refusing to rely upon strength and instead rely upon the truth that love really is what makes this all work. So forget about strength, okay? Forget about traditional kings sitting on their thrones of power. Forget about conquering your enemies. Forget about ruling as if your decisions are the best ones for miles around. That kind of success does not work out as easily as you might think, and that's assuming you achieve it in the first place. And I'll tell you what, the worst kind of priest. The worst guy to take on holy orders is the one who's in it for the throne, for the power. Oh, pardon me, it's a presider's chair, not a throne. It's a throne, okay? It's a throne in everything but name. And for the record, it is very comfy. I told some people that I was going to say that at Mass, and they said, "Really, Father Justin? It actually seems profoundly uncomfortable." It's like, no, it's actually really comfy. I love sitting in my throne. There is nothing wrong with having a comfy chair. But if you're in it for the throne, then you're not sitting in it in persona Christi. You are not there in the person of Christ. To be in the person of Christ, an alter Christus, another Christ, that means feeding the hungry and caring for the needy. That is what it means to tap into the divine and live your life as if your Lord and God is nothing less than love itself. If you're in it for the throne, your God is nothing close to love. It is a pity that I don't have a baptism today. That would have been perfect. Because upon baptism, everyone who is baptized is anointed priest, prophet, and king. Okay? Christ was all three of those entirely 100%, and he did so while being 100% human in nature, which means Christ is the priest of the universe. He's the prophet of the universe, and he is the king of the universe. And all of us, every single one of us, shares in that, all of that, by way of the grace of the Holy Spirit upon baptism. And this day, and this gospel specifically, reminds us that we live out that kingliness of Jesus, not when we act out of power or strength, but we're real kings when we act out of kindness, charity, and righteousness, especially for the lowly and those most in need.